What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be going through an early showcase of the Season 4 weapons, new teasers you may have missed, and even more. Definitely stay tuned. Now, there hasn't been too much going on with Black Ops 6 or Warzone. We're all just waiting for the Season 4 reveal, which should be on around May 22nd. But in a recent video going over what we know thus far about the new Battle Pass, I did go over a list of leaked DLC weapons that I wanted to make a separate video about so that we can go in more detail about each and every one and take a look at some older gameplay from when these weapons were originally featured in some other Call of Duty titles. Now, as far as how weapons are going to be released in our 4th season, I do think it's possible at some point that we'll end up seeing something like the Kilo again, where all you have to do is log into the game at launch and then get instant access to that ranged weapon. Maybe not in Season 4, but I do think they'll probably try that again towards the end of this game cycle, or even with Black Ops 7 COD 2025, especially if there's too many weapons being added during a single season launch window alone. I would expect maybe 2 to 3 ranged weapons in the new Battle Pass, with the other weapons being saved for some other challenge events throughout the month of June and July. Hopefully we get more traditional challenge events, because I think the XP and collection based ones are a bit played out now. Community hasn't been too happy with those, so fingers crossed for a big step up with our challenge events. But we know that a brand new Scorestreak that did get leaked out is the Grim Reaper, which we last saw in BO1, and is a little similar to the Archangel in the sense that it is a big launcher. I mean, I'm sure we'll end up seeing DLC launchers in the future, but this could be a real fun weapon that might actually be better than either the hand cannon or the death machine, depending on what kind of player you are. But you guys know it's easily a free nuke when running some powerful streaks like that, paired with the war machine, even the harp. Ton of fun to actually use, but again, it's cool to see that we're getting some fan favorite or classic streaks that haven't been seen in a while. My fingers are crossed that we see the attack dogs at some point as well. Maybe not in this game, but hopefully BO7. I do want to address something that got misinterpreted even by myself around 2 weeks ago, and that's this specific code name, which everybody thought was the Milano, and upon further research, it does say AR in the code name, so it couldn't possibly be the Milano SMG, right? Well, I do think that the Milano will probably come back at some point in the future, but based on the fact that this is referred to as an Italian assault rifle, look at the 90s era of weapons, and this could be the AR-70, right? That's a pretty era-appropriate weapon that could fit this code name, but that's, of course, just a theory at this point that was brought up by content creators like Exclusive Ace and other great community members out there. There's also what could be the Python from Black Ops 1 that may have been inspected here with Warzone Mobile, and I don't believe this weapon was recently data mined, but may have leaked out many months back for BO6. We haven't had any DLC pistols added in, and I know we're all waiting for the 1911, but I guess this will do, a revolver of some sort, right? This could also be a Season 4 weapon that is like the M1 irons from Advanced Warfare. We'll have to wait and see, but just to make things clear, right? Black Ops 6 and many other CODs already have weapons that don't exactly fit the era the game is based on. Sometimes weapons from the future kind of slip their way into a game that takes place in the past. We also have the Olympia, right? This is a weapon that we haven't seen since Black Ops 3, and I know what you're gonna say. What about the 725 from Modern Warfare 19? Yes, I'm aware it's just about the same weapon, but I'm talking about Treyarch Call of Duty, right? The last time we saw it in a Treyarch MP was BO3 through supply drops, and even then, that was over a decade ago. Many folks out there didn't get to use it unless they were lucky, or if they played Zombies Chronicles and bought it off the wall, then there you go. Funny enough, I think a teaser that has been laid out right in front of us is the fact that this weapon model can be found in both the campaign through the save files, and I believe somewhere behind a barrier in the Shattered Veil. An Olympia model exists, so I think it's only a matter of time before it actually comes out, and I do believe this is going to be one of the Season 4 Battle Pass weapons that will make a comeback. But this was always a blast to use and always sparked a debate between Olympia or M14 users, and we'll get back to the M14 later in this video. Now, we don't have too many shotguns in Black Ops 6. Luckily, the Maelstrom just got a buff recently to where it's actually a viable choice, at least in zombies. Was never a fan of that in MP or Warzone at all, but we'll have to see at least 1 to 2 more pretty fun shotguns added later in the year. Obviously, you guys are aware though, DLC shotguns, DLC snipers, those could be pretty frustrating weapons to go up against later in a cycle, especially when lobbies are sweatier, so we'll just have to wait and see how the Olympia actually impacts the game. But the Maelstrom shotgun, when it was added, was an event reward, so maybe a shotgun really wouldn't make the cut for a Battle Pass weapon at launch. Maybe they'll end up saving the Olympia for a reloaded event or something. Now, some brand new teasers that we did not expect earlier today came within the Season 3 outro cutscene, where not only was it confirmed that Stitch is coming back and was never killed off at the end of Cold War. You could debate that down below in the comments if whether or not you agree with that narrative decision, but on the table right in front of Adler, you could see 2 DLC weapons that are coming back from Black Ops Cold War. First off, we have the LC10 SMG, which was easily one of the better submachine guns in the game that did offer quite a bit of range and also had a good rate of fire for some close quarters combat. I think there were some great blueprints and mastercrafts also released for the LC10 throughout year 2 as well. This is a weapon that I absolutely enjoyed using, and I do believe this will end up being maybe a top 3 SMG in BO6 and possibly Warzone once it's added back in. Now, if you think about it, we didn't have an SMG in the Battle Pass with Season 3, so maybe this could also be one of the Battle Pass weapons added in. Either way, looking forward to how this weapon is going to perform on the brand new engine. We also have the FFAR, aka the FAMAS, whatever you want to call it. We saw this in Black Ops 1, it came back as the FFAR in BO3, then made a comeback in Cold War as one of the launch weapons. I know we also have a version of this through Modern Warfare, but keep in mind, right, this is a very powerful weapon, especially looking back at the Warzone 1 era. So I think not only is this going to make Black Ops fans happy, but even fans of the old Modern Warfare 19 meta from the original Warzone, they're going to be loving probably switching between the FFAR and probably a sniper. I'm sure they'll end up adding the Swiss back at some point in the future as well. But I think if they could pull some weapons that maybe were in Modern Warfare 19, but were the most popular in Black Ops games, like the FFAR, they're probably going to be adding those weapons into the game next. And as far as whether this will be a Battle Pass weapon, that's of course unknown, but it'll probably be the most popular weapon of Season 4, if I had to take a guess. Now, I think it's also great when some of the intro or outro cutscenes, or even the key art for a new season, ends up teasing what the new DLC weapons are going to be. Obviously, we'll get a full-fledged reveal once the blog post and roadmap end up dropping at some point next week. We also have seemingly 2 melee weapons that were actually referred to by their complete names in this list of leaks. We have the Brass Knuckles and even the Pickaxe, both of which were in previous Call of Duty titles either through supply drops or free updates. I'm not really much of a melee weapon user, but it's always cool to see when new melees get added in that have unique inspect animations or unique heavy attacks that are fun to try out or camo grind with. Now, like I've said, we have gotten a decent amount of melees in BO6 thus far, especially through the armory back during the TMNT update in Season 2. It's also possible the weapons could be added to the armory just randomly behind XP challenges. Although the armory has been broken for a little while now, there's so many gameplay items that should have expired from recent events and been added there, but a lot of folks out there have been commenting on my content that they can't actually access the feature to go ahead and unlock some of those gameplay items that they may have missed. But I'm sure these melees will be added either through an event or maybe as a surprise to the armory later in Season 4, probably with the mid-season. But we also have some speculation about what could be the ASM-DT, potentially a marksman rifle based on the Stingray from BO4, or something similar to the UGR SMG from Cold War Year 2. Based on the way the codename sounds, I think it is referring to a weapon that has a very unique magazine like what we saw with the 2 weapons that I just mentioned. Maybe this weapon will be something that is like a hybrid of the 2, or just simply a weapon that hasn't been seen in Call of Duty before with a unique look and design to it. Again, just a guess based on the codename and based on what weapons were relevant in the 90s. May not even be a 90s weapon at all. Now, there's also a new light machine gun that right now is kind of a toss-up between the M60 or the Ameli. The M60 has been seen in a couple of Call of Duties now, but I believe both the M60 and Ameli were in Cold War. I'll put some footage on screen so you guys can see. We don't have any DLC light machine guns in this game yet, so I think as far as some appropriate ones that could fit the 90s, these 2 definitely fit the bill. I mean, one of the 2, I think, will be the LMG we end up getting, but if they want to do a completely original light machine gun that we haven't gotten Call of Duty before, I'm also open to that as well. Now, I don't use light machine guns too often, but anytime I do, I just realize how crazy overpowered they are, and I think I noticed that the most when I was camo grinding with them. I mean, any light machine gun is usually like a 2-tap when I get hit with it across the map. I'm sure you guys can also feel the same way. But the last one that doesn't really make the most sense, but I could see how they can add it, is the MK14 EBR. Lots of folks have been talking about this one. I know this wouldn't really make sense for the time that BO6 takes place in, but what about just a classic M14? I mean, if we're getting running the classic Olympia, may as well add the M14 as well. I mean, that would just fuel the debate again between M14 and Olympia users. Also wouldn't mind if the starting room for DLC 4 Janus Towers and Zombies can have those classic weapons again. That would be a crazy cool callback that I'm sure also will spark a conversation about a remastered collection of Zombies maps eventually, because with all these returning wonder weapons and gameplay features and iconic DLC weapons, may as well put all that together and remaster some older zombie maps as well, especially with the M14 and Olympia coming back. It was great to see both of those in Zombies Chronicles from BO3, which happened to be supply drop weapons that you were able to unlock in multiplayer. Now, that was a breakdown of the leaked list of DLC weapons that we know of. Obviously, not all the guesses are going to be perfect, but at least we know of 3 weapons guaranteed. The Olympia, which has been heavily leaked by more leakers than one, and of course the FFAR and the LC10, which we just saw in a trailer. The codenames are typically helpful in the sense that the first letter of the weapon codename is usually the actual first letter of what the real weapon's name is. But don't forget, we're also going to be seeing more aftermarket conversion kits, likely in the Season 4 Battle Pass, and probably released throughout some of the seasonal challenge events. Really hoping for some more cool ones like the mini rocket for the Goblin, which you will see some more gameplay of in the background of some upcoming videos. That one's a ton of fun. I know it's a bit of a hot take, but I don't mind if we get more Growl-like conversion kits where maybe they don't add in a classic weapon in its base form, but you can convert an existing and similar weapon into one that is very popular. I mean, funny enough, as you saw in the background gameplay, I think the Growl is actually better as a conversion kit than the AMAX or the Kilo in multiplayer. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on our Season 4 weaponry that we know about so far? How accurate do you think the guesses are for that leaked list? Leave all your thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.